Hey,
Mhm.
everybody. Welcome. It's Thursday night. Welcome to the Cantina. Pull up a stool, have a drink with us, and let's talk about some Star Wars. Now, you may notice that Cam and Andrew are not here this evening. Andrew is running a bit late. He'll be on a little bit later. Cam is feeling under the weather, so we have opted to give him the night off so that we don't catch whatever he's got. Or he doesn't give his computer that virus that he's got. I am your host, David. Welcome. We're glad you joined us tonight. With me, as always, is my co host, Debbie. Debbie, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Last day of the week for me.
Must be nice. And you had off on Tuesday, too. Jeez.
I had Monday and Tuesday off.
Oh, so you worked Wednesday and Thursday, and that's it.
Hey,
I'm
if
going to
you
move to
use your
Indiana and get a job with you.
PTOs right, you get so many days off if you use your PTOs right.
I guess. I guess. Well, we are sitting here. We're going to talk about some John Williams tonight. But before we do, I am looking at the wrong thing here. We had some Star Wars news come out this week. This is from Deadline. Apparently, Lucasfilm has closed the deal with Simon Kinberg to develop a trilogy of Star Wars films. Kinberg will write the trio, produce them, all with Lucasfilm chief Kathleen Kennedy. This person is saying that it will comprise of episodes 10 through 12 of the Skywalker saga. Uh, but I think didn't they come back and say no, not it's just on its own, right?
Well, they
Uh,
said they were trying to get away from the Skywalkers, but yet
right.
then they made Rey a Skywalker.
Yeah.
So this is a continuation.
The Holly
I guess. I don't know.
actually Andrew gave us in the chat. He said the Hollywood Reporter sources are now saying that the trilogy is not episodes 10, 11, and 12. So this may be just a trilogy on its own.
Well, nothing's been confirmed by Lucasfilm or
Right.
Disney.
Right.
The only good thing that I could see out of this was he's writing and producing all three
Um,
instead
and it,
of somebody different, which was the mess that we had in
the sequel trilogy.
yeah.
Yeah. He has worked with Lucasfilm before. Let's see, he was the co-creator with Dave Filoni and Carrie Beck for Rebels. He was a consultant on episode 7.
A lot of the Marvel
A lot of
X-Men.
the X-Men films. The X-Men films, Logan,
Mhm.
a producer of the first 2 Deadpool films and the executive producer of Deadpool and Wolverine. He produced The Martian from Ridley Scott, scripted Mr. and Mrs. Smith, co-wrote the film that launched the Sherlock Holmes franchise with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. Uh, Murder on the Orient Express with Kenneth Branagh. Produced that one. I'm sorry. He's also producing the upcoming remake of The Running Man, which just went into production with let's see, Edgar Wright is directing with Glenn Powell, Josh Brolin, William H. Macy, Lee Pace. And I guess he's going to produce another Star Trek movie as well, it looks like. Another Star Trek movie directed by Toby Haynes and penned by
Is
Seth.
that the Kelvin timeline?
I have no idea.
I mean, they've been talking about a 4th film for what, 10 years now.
So I have no idea.
He has a lot of good stuff.
Unfortunately, Dark Phoenix is on that, but he's got a lot more good than bad. How about that? Can we say that? Is that a fair thing to
Yes,
say?
I agree.
So something to possibly look forward to. As of right now, there's no comment from either Disney or Lucasfilm. So
Who knows?
who knows? I think Taika Waititi was supposed to get a trilogy, and that's kind of been in limbo for a while. Who knows? We'll take it. Well, we will give you updates as they come to our knowledge. How about that? So, as much as you know, we know right now. Sounds exciting, but until we see some kind of proof, we take everything with a grain of salt. That's it. So that's our news for this week. Well, let's get into it. This week, not was it this? Yeah, I guess it was Friday last week. Was it Hulu or was it Disney that dropped this?
Disney.
Was it Disney? So on Disney Plus, we're going to take a little bit of a different direction here. It is Star Wars, but not really. Can we get away with saying that?
I
Dis-
mean, he did all 9, so
yeah, Disney produced a documentary that's on Disney Plus called "Music by John Williams," and it was about an hour and 45-minute documentary, and it just went through all of John Williams' life and everything that he's done. Debbie, I have not had a movie or a documentary or something like this hit me emotionally as this one did. I mean, there were points where I was almost in tears
I was in tears.
because it was this. And what's so bad is if they had done this, after he had died, if he had died and then they had done this, oh, I would have been inconsolable. This would have
Mhm,
been like, oh my God, why did you do this? I mean, I'm glad that they did it while he's still alive. Now, we know he is going to die eventually because everybody does. But when he does, I'm definitely going to sit down and watch this. And I mean, Waterworks, it's going to be
mhm.
bad because this was so, so well done. So well done. Nothing but love for the man's a genius. That's really what it boils down to. He is just completely when he sat down at that piano and he said, "This was the piano. This was the piano that I've had for however many years." And the first time Steven walked in and said, "I need a theme for my shark movie," and I sat down at this piano and I went, "How about this? Dun dun dun," and I was like, "Oh,
And
oh,
Steven's like, "What?"
what?" Exactly. And I was just, I mean, just it, it,
He's a
it,
visionary.
it and it's not all just. I mean, he is most famous for film scores. He does do music. I mean, he does he composes his own music. And I forgot which one it was that they were. Oh, it was the Catch Me If You Can theme. When he did, they were talking about how he was he really enjoyed jazz music and he was a jazz musician. And one of the guys was like listening to Catch Me If You Can and the theme for the Catch Me If You Can, and he was like, "Oh my God, this is jazz right here." Yeah, I mean, it was just
Mhm,
if you listen to it, it's just like, "Oh, I hear it. Oh my gosh, why am I missing this?" And he had been doing this for such a long time before Spielberg came. I mean, Spielberg was kind of, in my opinion, when he did Jaws, that's kind of what
catapulted.
you kind of put him on the
Pushed it
map.
over the Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
because
he did a lot of TV work. I
yeah,
mean,
and stuff
Lost
that
in
I've seen, and I was like, "Geez, I didn't even know he wrote that."
yeah, Lost in Space and some other I was looking through his, um, music list,
Repertoire.
whatever, and there's I mean, his younger days, it was mostly TV is what he did. And then he did a few movies here and there. And I got to ask you, outside of Star Wars, what is your first John Williams music?
First, like my favorite,
No,
or
the very
the
first
first
time
the
you
first one that I
heard.
heard. It would have been. Gosh, that's a tough one. Uh, I don't know because my dad was such a film fanatic, and I mean, I could probably say it would be a toss up. There'd be three movies that I could think of. It would be either Raiders, Jaws, or Superman. I think. I mean,
For
I
the
could.
first time you ever heard him?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, I could probably even go back further than that. I mean, like I said, there was TV shows that they were talking about that he did, and I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't even realize that that was him." So, I mean, I could, like I said, I could probably go even further back and say, "Yeah, I remember that was probably my first." But as far as seeing it on the theater or a film score, maybe I guess would be the as far as the film scores go. Yeah, that would it'd probably be either Jaws, Raiders, or Superman.
Well, I'm going to go back a little further.
Okay, what you got?
1972, John Wayne, The Cowboys.
Okay, that may have been it too. Then again, that was one of those ones. I was like, "Holy crap! I didn't even know he did that," and that had such a fantastic score to it
It
too.
did. I knew it was him. I knew he had done The Cowboys. Um, but I didn't, because that's such a catchy soundtrack, The Cowboys. Um,
And that's one of my favorite John Wayne movies too.
yeah, mine too. I mean, unfortunately, spoiler alert, he dies in it, but I mean, out of 200 films, John Wayne only died in 88 of his movies. But yeah,
I can only
that
think
one.
I can only think of two, but those two are my favorites. So that they've got to be. And one of them, it was just I don't remember if he just died of old age,
The
but
Shootist.
no, 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 Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Oh,
Because Jimmy Stewart was going back for his funeral. I mean, that's what he was back in town for, was his funeral, and then they
right.
went back. It was basically a flashback. The whole movie was a flashback. So when the legend becomes fact, print the legend. So
Yeah,
good.
there's 8 of them, but The Shootist I'll watch at least once a year, just because our family was such John Wayne fans, and that one always makes me sad. But
Nope.
and that was his last film also, because he was actually dying.
Mine was, let's see, my biggest ones are, and I'll watch each one of these at least once a year, if not twice. McClintock, El Dorado, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, The Cowboys. I think that's it.
I like his war movies.
I'm not a, I've mentioned this before. I can't really watch war movies.
Oh,
Um,
I get that.
I'm,
But just
I'm, but I
Green
love it.
Berets, Sands of Iwo Jima, that was one he died in, Sands of Iwo Jima.
Yeah,
Flying CBs, or the Fighting CBs,
Fighting
sorry.
Seas. Yeah,
Yeah.
the El Dorado, though, that one had James Caan in it, so that one was a very young James Caan, but he was in it. He was Mississippi. Why don't you tell him why you wear that hat, Mississippi? So good. Go go watch El Dorado. It's one of the greatest John Wayne films of all time. Go watch El Dorado. Go watch McClintock's just funny. It's It's a cowboy movie, but it's like a funny cowboy movie. So,
Any of the movies with Maureen O'Hara.
and I think that was one of. I think she was in that
Yes,
one. So, yeah.
classics, classics. They were so good together.
George Washington McClintock, you smell of beer. Well, I've been drinking beer. So
Okay,
oh,
back to John Williams.
John Williams. John Williams. We went from John Wayne to John Williams, but that's okay. Or John Williams to John Wayne, but that's okay. Um,
It's related.
it's relatable. See, again though, that the Cowboys, that may not have been my first. I mean, that may have been one of the earliest ones that I heard, but I don't think that. I honestly think it was probably, if I really, really thought about it, it was probably Superman. Outside of Star Wars, it was probably Superman.
Well, that was
So
78,
8,
79.
78. So I would think that it was God. Yeah, yeah, because Raiders was what, 82. I think that was the
82
year.
or 83,
I
yeah.
think that was the year before Jedi. So, and then, but Jaws. I mean, Jaws was what, 75, right?
5.
75. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say.
But that one is such, I mean, outside of the main, the most iconic one, the whole soundtrack is great
Oh yeah.
for
Uh,
Jaws.
and it's a great, again, great movie. I don't
I watch
care.
it every year.
I don't care if they didn't like it because the shark was acting up, the mechanical shark or whatever. It's
Bruce.
brilliant. It is still, it's one of my all-time favorites. Um, the chemistry between the three guys is just amazing. Ando 3818 is on. How's it going? Just talking some John Williams here. Now, it talked about his kids too, and his daughter was actually on the documentary, but I had no idea. His son is the lead singer of Toto.
I
I was
know.
like,
I was shocked.
what?
I was
Toto?
like,
Really?
excuse me?
And
And the
I mean,
other one is in,
he's a
isn't he?
drummer. He's a drummer, but he's like all over the place. He played for, oh gosh, I think they said Aretha Franklin and Starship and a few others that are just like, I was like, oh my God, really? Holy crap. So again,
That floored me.
yeah, the
Singer of
family,
Toto.
the,
Never
the
would have
family
thought.
is very talented, obviously. So the genes run very well in that family.
Yes.
Ando is finishing up his Krabby Patty from Wendy's. I haven't had it yet. My son has had it, and he enjoys it. So he said that the uh, better than I was expecting. The sauce makes the burger for sure.
We don't have a Wendy's.
You don't have a Wendy's? Huh. All right.
Oh, wait. No, that's Burger King I'm thinking of. Never mind.
I heard that the frozen, or it's like a pineapple frosty that you get with it, and I've heard it's like the Dole Whip at Disney World, or Disneyland, the Disney's Dole Whip. Either way, um, uh-oh.
I appreciate that.
It's ending on Monday. I've heard it's real popular. I wonder why they're or is this going to be like a McRib thing where they just bring it back every once in a while?
How long has it been out?
Oh, it's been a while. It's been a few weeks. Actually, it may have even been a few months now.
Well, who did what was it? Because Kat did a review on it. The Wendy's or Wednesday.
The Wednesday
Or no,
burger.
the Adams family. Was it Adams family or was
Yeah,
it
they
Wednesday?
did that for Halloween. That was Burger King.
Hmm.
I think they do that every year though. They do something like they did one where it was like they had the bun, but the bun was like black. It was like that looks awful. It just
Sounds
looked bad.
disgusting.
Uh,
I'm sure it's just dye, but
oh
just
yeah,
looking at
it
it is
just looks
just
bad. Yeah, if you look at it and you're like, ugh, why do I want to eat that? Not like John Williams' music though.
mm-mm.
Nice segue, right? Um,
Yeah, when I was looking through his repertoire, um, there was some movies I didn't even realize were his. Um, well, one I just found out this 4th of July because I watched it 4th of July weekend, and that was Born on 4th of July. You wouldn't like it because it's Tom Cruise.
you
Still
no,
a
I've
good
I've seen
movie.
that one, and yes, you're right.
It's a good movie,
I
but the
know
sound
it's a horrible, horrible actor though. But
but the soundtrack is great. Um, and then one I really didn't know was
hi, Andrew.
one of my
Hey,
favorite movies. I need to watch it. I don't think I've watched it yet this year. The Patriot, Mel Gibson.
With Mel Gibson.
oh,
I love that movie. Mel Gibson, Heath Ledger.
But here's the issue that I the Patriot. Don't get me wrong, it was a good movie. It's not one of my favorites, but the problem with it was that I really, really one of my favorite movies is Braveheart with Mel Gibson,
Mhm.
and the Patriot comes out shortly after Braveheart, and I watched the Patriot, and I'm like, oh, this is Braveheart, but in America. Because if you think about it, you've got somebody who is living in America. He doesn't want to get involved in the troubles. He's just kind of like, I want to sit back and raise my family and do what I can. And then the British, funny enough, on both sides, or the English, if you will, does something to somebody that he loves, be it his son or his wife or whoever. And all of a sudden, he's like, I need to get involved now. And he fights them using these guerrilla tactics. And I'm just like, yeah,
But at least
it's
in this one, he didn't get dismembered
yeah, but let's face it,
and sliced open.
the 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 fight at the end was like really long with um oh, who was
Jason Isaacs.
Jason Isaacs, yes. I was
Love
trying
that
to
guy.
all I could think of was Malfoy, was Mr. Malfoy. That's all I could think of. I was just like, I know who it is. It's Malfoy's dad, but
And the Inquisitor.
yeah, I just
And,
can't put a
and
name with it. So
yeah,
um
he was my pick for Thrawn.
but no, again, I was like, I mean, it's a good don't I'm not saying that it's a horrible, horrible movie, and I'm not saying it's. I liked Braveheart better. That's all I'm gonna say.
I like them both. I did watch Braveheart this year.
I have not watched. I have watched that one so far this year. One of my favorites, and I'm glad they brought it up, was JFK. Love that movie, and that's such an underrated movie. It's Oliver Stone. It's everybody in Hollywood is in that movie, or everybody who was big. I mean, you've got Kevin Costner, Sissy Spacek, John Candy was in it, Kevin Bacon's in it. If you ever play 6 Degrees from Kevin Bacon, all you got to do is find that movie because, like, all you got to
Everybody
do
and
is
their
find
brothers in
somebody
it.
linked to that movie in some way or another because everybody's in that movie. Walter Matthau. Oh, what's the other guy? Who's the other odd couple guy? Walter Matthau and
Jack Lemmon.
Jack Lemmon. He's in it. Uh, uh, not Danny DeVito. Joe Pesci.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Everybody is in this movie.
Everybody's. Wayne Knight's in it. Yondu's in it. I can't think of his name either.
Michael York? No.
No, no, no,
Michael.
no. I don't remember.
My brain fails me. My old
I know.
brain.
The girl that was the Roseanne's sister. That's all I'm going to say. Jackie
Okay.
from Roseanne. She was in it. I mean, just there's just a slew of people that were in that movie, and it was just like, holy crap! Vincent D'Onofrio was in it.
Yeah.
Last time I watched it, I was like, holy crap, that's Vincent D'Onofrio. What's he doing? All right. I mean, he was just in it for like a few lines, but he was there. I was like, well, look at that. Vincent D'Onofrio's in JFK. How about that?
But it's a very long movie.
It's a long movie, and it's a whole lot of we're sitting around the table and talking about things.
And then you got your trial and
then the trial starts, and that's but even still, I mean, it's 3+ hours long.
yeah.
So
it's still a good movie. Great soundtrack.
Awesome soundtrack. Love the soundtrack. And again, one of my favorite. And when it came out, it was not well received, and it's still kind of a
controversial.
It's controversial, and a lot of people still don't like it because that was kind of when Kevin Costner did what's it called, Robin Hood, and all of a sudden he's like huge, and it's like, oh my gosh, Kevin Costner, Robin Hood was great, and then all of his movies just kind of started a slow decline to where, I mean, they weren't as good. The Postman, Waterworld. I mean, I liked them. Don't get me wrong, I liked them. But
was that before or after Dancing with Wolves?
It was all after Dances with Wolves.
Okay.
That was all of it was after Dances with Wolves. I just watched that one like 2 weeks ago. Love that movie. Oh, so good.
Field of Dreams. I don't know. I like a lot of. I know you love it, but I don't care for Waterworld.
Oh,
I may have to revisit it.
It's fun.
But
it's got Dennis Hopper in it. It's got Jack Black's in that movie. I didn't even know. I forgot about that. I mean, he doesn't have any lines, but he's in it. Go figure.
So, Andrea, I'll ask you since you weren't here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I know you're young. You're just a pup. And by the way,
I didn't even know who John Williams was. I mean.
By the way, I love your new connection. You look fantastic. You look marvelous.
You look
Thank you. You can actually see what I look like.
Yes, you're not pixelated. But what, if you can remember, was the very first, outside of Star Wars, your very first John Wayne? Or
John Williams.
John Wayne. Let's see.
John Wayne already. I am so sorry.
No, you're good.
John Wayne. Well, we were talking about John Wayne, but
I mean, it might have been. Of course, there are scores I didn't even know he did when I was watching this documentary. Probably like a Hook or Fiddler on the Roof.
Fiddler on the Roof.
That one too. I was like, what? Fiddler on the Roof? I was appalled.
I mean, that's. I'm trying to think though.
I mean, a few weeks ago too. I love that movie.
Yeah. I think it'd probably be one of those two. I'm thinking probably because once I saw Star Wars, then I was watching all these other movies that his score was. I mean, there's Raiders probably is one. E.T.
Oh, E.T. See, I forgot about that one.
That's a great score. That might be my personal favorite of his.
Outside of Star Wars?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a good boy today.
All right.
I don't want to get kicked off the show.
All right. I won't kick you off. I'll just mute you or something. You're not allowed to speak. You're in timeout.
For the next 30 minutes.
Well, one of my, and I usually watch this about once a year too. It's a very emotional soundtrack, and that's Schindler's List.
Oh, yeah.
I
the violin solo alone is enough to make me cry. It is just so haunting and sad, and it just
that's one of those movies. It's not really. That one's a hard one for me to watch just because it's so emotionally involved.
Mhm.
That's a hard one to that's like watching and again another one pops up. That's like watching Saving Private Ryan. You know,
Yeah,
just
Another great
exactly.
score.
and again, John Williams. There it is.
Mhm.
So it's just it's there are so many movies that the music is so good, but just trying to watch it is because and honestly, um, I forgot what one they were doing, but they were the music really makes the movie, and they were
Mhm.
talking about that. Was it?
I
It
was
was
about to bring
George
that up.
Lucas.
I really like
He's
that.
he said something like, "If you watch Indiana Jones without," and I think they showed
It was
Indiana Jones
Yeah,
Jaws
they
or
they
showed the
showed.
or the Last
yeah,
Crusade. It was part of the Last Crusade,
yeah.
and they said, "Watch it without the music." And you watched it without the music, and it was like, okay. And then that showed
Okay.
because it was the scene on the train with the rhinoceros, and
Mhm. Well, they did the same thing with Jaws. They
Yeah.
played a scene without the music, and it's just the three of them on the boat, and they're chasing down Bruce.
Mhm.
Uh, and then
with
they
the
put the
music.
music to it. It just totally changes it.
So
Yeah, I liked that. I was just about to bring that up.
that was, and it's one of those things too. And I don't know how it is with you, but anytime I hear one of his, I listen to music at work, and a lot of times I've I've been on my big pirate kick lately, so I've been listening to the Pirates of the Caribbean score. But it just throws in scores, and I'll hear something that's his, E.T. or Raiders or something like that, and I'll it'll be playing in my headphones, and the first thing I think when I hear that is I'm just thinking of that scene in the movie where that music was most prominent.
Mhm.
If it's E.T., the E.T. theme, it's Elliot flying around on the bike and in front of the moon, and that famous scene that we get. Um,
Well, and
Jurassic
I can't
Park.
remember who said it, but
Mhm.
along your point, David, of you hear a song that he wrote or performed, and you instantly know the movie it's from.
Yeah,
That just shows how iconic his music is.
we went. I took my dad one year for his birthday. We went to Bass Hall here in Fort. Well, it's in Fort Worth, but we went to Bass Hall, and they were doing the music of John Williams. That was the whole show, and the first half of the show was Indiana Jones. It was the Raiders March. It was Jaws. It was the Harry Potter theme. Couple of themes, which was it wasn't. It was like the Hedwig's theme or whatever. It's the more
Mhm.
popular one. They did, but they did a
Mhm.
whole bunch of stuff from his movies, and then the second half of the show was all the Star Wars stuff, which was awesome. But yeah, just sitting there listening to, even my dad was like, "Oh, I don't think I know the Harry Potter theme." But then when it started playing, hey, uh-oh, Andrew, you better
Uh-oh.
behave yourself. Your mama's watching.
I'll
Um,
try. I'll try.
but just when it started playing, my dad was like, "Oh, I do know this. I have heard this." So I mean, he's one of those ones where he's seen Harry Potter like once. It's not his cup of tea, so you know, no
You
big
want me to
deal.
behave myself, then you tell me that?
But that was I'm not seeing
What'd
any
she
comment.
say?
I don't know. All I've got is this is the last comment I've got, so maybe I'm behind.
I think I'm behind too. I'm not. Debbie can see the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
It's the
knows
only
all.
one I see.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
I thought you were laughing at other people's comments.
What?
Um, but yeah, I mean, even that was, he'd hear a theme and he'd be like, "Oh,
No.
I do know that one." Huh?
Huh? I think she's cutting in and out.
I think she is too.
I gave her
Debbie,
the
are we
curse of the
losing you?
internet connection.
It looks like she's frozen up now.
I made a trade. In order for me to have good internet, someone else has to have bad. That's what
What?
happened, I think.
Why?
Am I still frozen?
I'm sorry.
Your picture is very
Yeah.
pixelated, and it's like you're freezing and then unfreezing. Is your son playing Fortnite? Yeah, you're fading. You're in and out, Debbie. While she tries and figures it out, I did. I bought my dad for Christmas one year. I bought him. What was it? It was like a 4 CD set. Oh, there she went. It's like a 4 CD set, and it was like 101 of the greatest film scores or film
Mhm.
music of all time. Blah 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 blah. now that's funny.
Yeah.
But
Mom,
I
get off of Fortnite. You just
Get
got
off.
home. Come on.
Yeah, jeez. But I went through and looked at him, and I would say probably like half, maybe even more, probably even like 65% of those scores were all John Williams. I mean, the others that weren't. I mean, you had like The Godfather,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it was just like, oh my gosh, look at everything that he's done, and that was back in the
Mhm.
like the mid '90s sometime. So
Yeah. Well, I think, especially after watching this documentary, that Spielberg and him are the best director slash composer duo
combo.
ever. Yeah. The one that comes close is Christopher Nolan and Hans Zimmer. They come close, but I think the best is Spielberg and Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I could tell you how many times I got emotional watching this.
Oh,
I mean, it was
that's what we were
just
talking. Oh, hold on.
yeah.
I think Debbie's back.
I've been promoted.
Now
I've been
you've been
demoted.
demoted.
Do I
Dang
look
it.
awful still?
No, you're good.
No, you look
Now
good.
you look fine.
I don't know what happened because I'm looking. I got internet and everything, but
It's just Streamlabs being Streamlabs.
and I could hear you guys, but evidently y'all couldn't hear me. And
We heard a
then
bunch
when
of
I
what?
tried to sign back on twice and for Streamlabs Circle of Death.
Do not take life
So I don't
instructions
know what
from
was
Debbie.
going
She's
on.
trying to tell you how
I
to
apologize. I'm
how to
sorry.
save yourself. It'd be like
That's okay.
You do this, and then you. Oh.
Andrew's mom said that it's her fault.
Yeah.
So she took the blame.
She stole
for
your
it.
Ethernet cord.
I guess. Gosh.
But Home Alone. I knew he did
I
Home
love
Alone,
that score.
but that was one of those ones that there were so many movies that I was like, oh, I knew he did that, and you see it as the documentary progresses that it's like, I knew he did that. Why am I? It's almost like you're looking at it going, I'm surprised that he did that, and I'm like, but I knew he did that. Why am I so shocked and surprised that I knew he did that?
Well, and this was, you talk about that. This was something I have thought of before, but then it reoccurred to me while watching this. If he did not do all of the main 9 saga Star Wars movies, would the scores have been as good? Because they would have had like his theme used in it.
Right.
But then if it was like a different, like if he just did the original trilogy and then a new composer did each trilogy, would they be as good? I'd say no. They would probably be good, but not to the level that they are. Because he talked about the sequels, how he doesn't do sequels a whole lot.
Yeah, he did the first 2 Harry Potter movies, I think.
3.
He did the first 3.
Yeah, he didn't do the 4th because then he did Memoirs of a Geisha. That's the only reason why he didn't, and then he just didn't. But he did the first 2 Jaws. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everything past that, it's always
Original
music based on John Williams
Exactly.
original theme.
Like the Superman movies, he did 78, but I
think he did
believe after
he
that,
did
that
the
was the only
first
one.
two. He did
Okay,
one
he
and
did.
First
Okay.
two.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
that's because Richard Donner was filming both of those movies at the same time, and then
okay.
Donner got booted, and they brought in somebody else. In fact, if you really like Superman 2, go watch Superman 2, the Donner cut, and basically
I need to find that. I don't know
it's
if
on
it's
DVD
available to
somewhere.
rent.
You can find it.
Okay.
But it's almost like it's a completely different story.
Mm-hmm.
So, but basically, if you watch Superman 1 and then it's almost like you could watch them just all as one big long movie. So, but yes, watch the Don. Don't get me wrong, it's rough because it's a rough cut. It's not like watching Zack Snyder's Justice League where he was given X amount of dollars to say, "Here, finish your movie," and he made this huge 4-hour long epic. No, it's what they call the Donner cut, and you can't go back and unage Margot Kidder or bring back Christopher Reeve to do all this stuff. So
I liked it. You bringing up Christopher Reeve when they showed that clip from one of John Williams' award things, and he said that Superman can't fly without the theme. If, you take 1-2 steps and then you fall.
That was one of those. That was one of those emotional moments right there. You can't fly. Superman can't fly without John Williams.
And that was even before his incident.
I can't wait for his documentary to hit streaming.
That's
the Christopher Reeves documentary.
It's called like Superman or something like that.
Yeah, Superman, the Christopher Reeve story.
Yeah.
But it's actually Super Slash Man.
Time.
Yeah.
It played for a limited time in theaters, which not here because
it was like it was. Yeah, I was gonna say it was not in my area.
I want to say it was only in a couple of theaters in my area.
I think it's supposed to come out in December, maybe.
Yeah,
I thought it said Apple. I thought Apple was going to have it. Apple TV in December.
No.
Well, Max should have it soon, just because of Warner Brothers.
Think.
Yeah.
Let me see.
You would think.
I don't have Apple TV, so if it does hit Apple TV, I may have to go buy the Blu-ray.
Let me see.
I do.
Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm Rick, and I can afford all the streaming services.
Yeah.
No, my daughter and her husband bought me the little Duty Daddy thing, and then got me like a 2 or 3 years subscription. I don't remember what it was.
I have Disney Plus. You get the shows 2 months in advance.
Oh man.
I've already seen Daredevil Born Again.
Well, we know she's the Marvel insider. We've already
That's true.
We talked about that on Monday.
Yeah, that's right. We need her to be a Star Wars one too.
Those were just good guesses.
They were educated wishes. How about that? There you go.
By the time they come out with the new Star Wars movie, I probably won't be around because it's going to take them 20 years to make a movie. So
I heard
I'll be dead and gone.
You want to get to that?
I thought Mandalorian's coming out next month.
We already talked about it.
Next year.
Aw, man.
Oh, next year?
I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I'll see that one, but nothing after that.
Oh,
you'll be around forever, Debbie.
You could be 118 and still be watching Star Wars.
No, the odds are against me. My family tree.
Never tell me the odds.
Don't tell. Yeah, never tell me the
Yeah,
odds.
don't tell me the odds.
I was doing a Hunger Games reference there.
Yeah.
What was okay, Andrew? Because we talked about this a little bit. What was one of the things that came up in the in this that like our big one was we had no idea that John Williams' son was the lead singer for Toto.
Does he even know Toto?
Do you even?
I don't even know. I didn't know that either because I don't even know Toto.
Oh.
So.
Go.
I might know their music, but I don't know the name. I mean, sometimes I know songs, but not the artist. So.
Africa.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's
then
Toto.
Yes. Okay. So I know that. I just didn't know that that's who that was.
You know, this is the problem with having youngins on the show because they just make me feel super old. I mean, I know I'm old, but it just makes me super old.
Do more. I can do more.
You see this? Your daughter is saying now is not the time to confront mortality. She's got a point.
She's like, you can't be old because if you're old, then that means I'm old.
That was somebody posted that. I think it was one of our Feast of Fandoms people posted that on his Facebook page. Was those of us born in the early 90s now are waking up every morning with our hips and back hurting, and somebody else posted
That was
somebody else
Let's
posted.
Try the 60s. Okay,
I was going to
say
you
were born in the 60s. Now you know how I feel.
Somebody else posted, oh, well, I guess I'm just ancient then. And I was like, ancient nothing. I got 1 foot in the grave, for crying out loud. Come on. 90s.
Are you really 37?
You don't know your daughter's age?
I always have to think about it. They're all 2 years apart. But after a while, you just lose count.
No, that's not old. That's young.
When you, Andrew, as a young person, I'm going to tell you this.
Top.
Well, when you hit 25, you just kind of stop caring, and when you hit that 30 range, if people have to stop and think about how old you are, that's when you know it's like it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. I don't remember my sister's age half the time, so it's
okay. I didn't think you were that old.
Right. I'm not.
It was Monty Python.
37. That was from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Okay. Well, I was like, wait a minute, that would make Matt like 39 in February, and I don't think that's right. Wow. I was like, time just kind of flashed before my eyes. I'm like.
Debbie's like, where have I been the last 2 years?
Right? I mean, I know my mind is going, but that just kind of put me over the edge.
Old man. I'm not old. What? I'm not old. I'm 37. I can't just call you man. You could call me Roger.
When I was realizing how old John Williams was during this, I mean, he's what, 92? Something like that. He's still
93?
Yeah,
3, but he's still there. Up and I mean, he's still up. He's walk. I mean, he's not.
And that was amazing too because he's in his 90s, but when he's shooting this documentary, you would never thought he was in his 90s.
The way he talked, the way he moved, he's golfing. I mean, geez.
Well,
he's sitting on the couch all day. Oh, yeah, attempted. Yeah.
My grandfather is 90. Let's see. He's 96 this year. He turned 96 in August. And I mean, 96 is nothing to laugh at, don't get me wrong, but he's also, he needs a walker to get around and, hearing aids and glasses and all his teeth are falling out. I mean, he's falling apart. He's 96. But you look at John Williams and you're like, oh my gosh, you're 92 or 93, however old he is. And you're like, he doesn't look like it.
Yeah, my dad was like 90, 95, 96 when he died.
See, you got a long time.
And that does not speak for the rest of the family.
But my dad's 96.
No, the rest of the family.
And my grandma lived to 130, but I don't got a lot of time.
The year prior to that, he was always very active, up doing things. And, he had girlfriends, for Christ's sake. Why,
Dang.
I don't know. But
They were 20.
up until about a year before he died, then he's started declining and whatnot. But before that, yeah, you couldn't stop him.
Huh. Girlfriends. Was it one of those things too where you looked at it and you said, "Dad, stop! You're embarrassing me. I don't even want to know what you're."
Why is your girlfriend older than me? Or younger, I mean. Younger than me.
I'd go visit him at his apartment, and I'd be knocking on the door. This is before cell phones. And, I'm like, where the hell
time
is he?
before cell phones?
Yes. And then, here he comes bebopping down the hallway. Oh, I'm sorry I'm late. I was with so-and-so.
I was out on a date.
I was like, Dad, really, I don't want to know.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It was I was a date.
We were just on a date. We were down he lived in a senior citizen center. So it was apartments, and then they had a main, down at the ground floor. They had like a rec center and, places to play cards like euchre and whatnot. And that's where his date was. They were down there playing euchre.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Is that what the old people are calling it these days?
Yeah, that's what they were calling it back then.
Nice.
You just lost. Take off your shoes.
All right, Dad. Yeah. Woo.
Oh, Lordy.
Mom, they're teaching me things.
Just that you can still feel frisky in your 90s. There's nothing wrong with that, I guess.
You may die, but you're going to have fun.
I'm going to have fun doing it.
What really amazes me about John Williams is he still does it the old way.
Yeah, he writes everything.
Writing it on. I mean, I'm sure somebody could have hooked him up to one of them because they showed somebody else doing it. Things to where all they have to do is play the piano and it automatically comes up.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, he even made the comment, that, I could probably get it done a lot faster.
Yeah. But it's hearing it out. It just, I think he would lose his touch almost if he did it the other way.
I forget what song it was. Shoot. But they showed the sheet music.
And it was the 5-note song. What was it? Yeah. It was like
for Close Encounters.
Oh,
that's what it was. Yeah.
At the end where the UFO is just going.
Oh,
yes.
He showed the sheet music for that. My jaw dropped. I mean, I figured it was probably complicated, but when I looked at that, I was like, holy, how does anybody play that? I used to play piano, not very well. But I'm just like, oh my gosh, that is just crazy.
I know. I was like,
I can't tell you, as I'm watching this, there's always that time where you look at something and you think of something, you're like, I really need to go back and watch that movie. There were so many movies within this documentary that I was just like, I really need, like Schindler's List was one. You know what? I'm not going to lie. We got done watching this. I was playing Jenga with Samuel, and I got tired of playing Jenga because I know we had it on. He was sitting in front of the TV and I was watching the TV but playing Jenga at the same time. And when we got done, I turned on Temple of Doom because I wanted to watch Indiana Jones. So I'm like, okay, Temple of Doom. So we watched Temple of Doom, and Samuel, I said, watch this. And they got to the scene where they're where they sat down to eat dinner was the first one with the the snake surprise and the bugs and the chilled monkey brain.
Monkey brains.
And then and he was locked in after that. He's like, "What's next? What's next?" Well, then he goes into the hallway. And I'm like, watch. He's going to go into the hallway. And they got all the bugs everywhere. He's like, oh. And then the spikes come down out of the ceiling. And that was great, too. And then he pulls the heart out. And he was like, oh, my God. He was all kinds of engrossed in that movie after that. And I was just like, all right.
Yeah, that was a very dark film, to say the least. Hi, Gabriel.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
But yeah, I was just I was all kinds of excited about it because he was sitting down watching Temple of Doom, and I was just like, all right, got another one.
Well, I tell you what, there was a segment where they were interviewing J.J. Abrams. I never related to a man so much in my whole life. But when he was talking about you can listen to any of his John Williams music, and he was saying I can see the movie in my head. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
When I'm listening to my Pandora at work, and I can see the scene in my head, and then
I think that's
smell
what we were
because,
talking about when you were fritzing.
when I was pixelating.
Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind then.
No, you're fine.
Right.
Because I'm
You're
the
just
same
sharing your
way.
thoughts now. I mean,
No,
yeah.
it's great because, like I said, I listen to music at work, and if I'm listening to just a slew of film scores and something of his comes up, I'm like,
you stop what you're doing and you just.
I don't even have to stop what I'm doing. I'm just like, I'm thinking of the movie. Okay, this is what happens in that scene of the movie. So, and I always thought it was funny because as a kid, I would sit in the living room and we'd pull out the records. Records were big flat discs that used to have music on them, Andrew. So
Okay.
They're cut vinyls.
They're called vinyl.
Yes, I see those all the time.
Retro.
I see.
It's retro tech.
There's music on those. Huh.
Yes, there is music on those.
I guess it works like a DVD.
So I would pull out my Star Wars soundtrack, and you listen to a soundtrack and you get the whole piece. In a movie, you only get you might get part of that. You don't get the whole thing. You just get a part of it, depending on how long the scene of the movie is. And so I always was thinking, I would think, okay, this is where it happened in the movie, and this is what happened. But what happens on the rest of it? What's going on with the rest of the music? And I always came up with my own stories as to, okay, this happened in the movie. Now we're going to follow these two stormtroopers around, and they're going to do whatever they're doing. And, I always came up with the rest of the movie. The background characters got the rest of the score. So
that's kind of one of the things. Even you were saying, Debbie, that came on the record. There was a double album. He was talking about how he would play it and look at the album cover and play the movie in his head. I was like, that's pretty cool.
That's exactly what
my brain doesn't work that well, but
I had a little plastic sort of record player. It was one that you could the top closed and you could carry it to wherever. I mean, it was a plug-in, but it was plastic because it was for kids, and of course I was only 13 at the time, and that was all we could afford. But I'd put my Star Wars album up on there, and I would pretend I was conducting, and then also seeing the movie in my head. Yes.
And your mom walks in and you're just doing this, listen to the music.
That's the one.
That's pretty cool.
And I did the same thing with Battlestar Galactica. When it first came out, the original, not the ones that they redid. I loved that album so much.
Ooh.
I did the same thing. I'd sit there and I could see the scenes, with certain songs. I pretend I was conducting. I don't know why, because I would never make it as a conductor, but I thought it was super
You
cool.
just tell people what to do. You love it. You know?
But yeah,
That's
I
right
was
up
just
your alley.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I do that with you know a lot of the movie soundtracks. Indiana Jones. Yeah, I could pretty much tell you what scene's going on.
Now,
Mhm.
now this one, this is the story of the Return of the Jedi. So it's
Hmm.
not really the soundtrack; it's the music. But it was like they took voice clips from the movie, and it comes with the. It actually comes with the book with the pictures in it and everything.
Mhm.
Um, I'm still looking for the Return of the Jedi soundtrack on vinyl. So if anybody out there has one and they want to part with it, I could really use Return of the Jedi
Do a
sound.
reverse giveaway. So you give us
Yeah,
something
so I
instead
get
of
it.
us.
I'd be happy with that. I might trade you something for it. I've got some cool stuff.
One of my niece, gosh, thinking it's 2 or 3 years ago. Um, she handed me an album, and I believe it's the radio drama.
Oh, that's a
Although
good
I
one
have
too.
no way of listening to it because I don't have a stereo.
I've got the radio drama on cassette tapes. Um, but you can go to YouTube and somebody has cut the entire radio drama all in one you can sit and listen to it basically the whole thing back to front, and it doesn't do the intro for each episode. Basically all the episodes just run together as one big long
Mm.
movie.
Mm.
So and you do
Did
that
they
for
just
all.
like do A New Hope as a radio drama or
No, they
what?
did all three of them.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
They did the entire. In fact, Mark Hamill did the voice for Luke Skywalker in all three movies, and
Anthony Daniels.
Anthony Daniels did C-3PO.
He
John
always plays
Lithgow.
C-3PO. I
John
mean,
Lithgow did Yoda.
Harrison. Oh, Yoda. Who did Harrison? Because I don't think Harrison did it.
No, Harrison didn't. No, I think those three might have been the only, or those two might have been the only two that came for, because Carrie didn't do hers either.
Mm.
But the Mark Hamill is a real big voice actor, and
mhm.
that's obvious if you go and watch. I sat down and watched the Muppet Show the other day. It's on Disney Plus with Mark Hamill, and he sits there and he does the Muppet voices too. So I mean, you're talking about a show from 1980 something. I think it was 80s because I think it was between Empire and Jedi that they dropped that one. That Muppet Show, because he was in his Empire Strikes Back get up. So that's the only reason I'm thinking he was between Empire and Jedi.
Well, I know it was before I graduated high school because uh, we had Bible study, and unfortunately, it landed on the night that the Muppet Show would come on.
Always.
So we were always hurrying the group leader, youth leader, whatever he was.
Hurry,
Like,
you gotta get home for the Muppets.
no, he would let us watch it at his house, but we were like, okay, you're getting a little long winded. Let's, move along.
Wrap it up, Fuzzball.
Wrap it up, bring
Yeah.
out the cookies and milk so we can watch the Muppets. And then, we could call our parents to come pick us up.
But he was doing the voices for, he did Kermit's voice and Fozzie's, and I mean he is a multifaceted actor. He can do Star Wars and voice acting, and I mean that's obvious. He did
Joker.
Joker. That's one of the big ones. One of the earliest ones that I remember him
Mhm.
doing before Joker, there was a video game called Wing Commander, and he did one of the voices in Wing Commander. So, but yes. So Mark Hamill did the voice for Luke Skywalker in the radio drama, and John Lithgow, and David Alan Grier. Now, a lot of people don't know who that is, but David Alan Grier, he was really big back in the 90s. Comedian. He was on In Living Color, TV show In Living Color, and he did a couple of the background voices, and he's got a very distinctive voice. You could tell when he
I love that show.
talks.
Yeah.
So you don't know. Quit
Where Jim
pretending like
Carrey
you
got
know.
his start.
Yeah, it's where Jim Carrey got his start. Turkey.
What was it,
Okay.
Fireman Bob or something?
Fire Marshal Bill.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Let me
He
tell
was
you.
hilarious on that show. He was off the wall.
Yeah. Well, we've been at it for over an hour now. Debbie, did we miss anything that you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay,
We do have just 2 fan questions if we want to answer those real quick.
go for it. Let's hear it.
All
Let's
right.
hear it.
So the first one comes from Nikki Sweatpants with Bacon on X. He says,
Lovely title.
he's a great guy. He's host of the Nick Flicks podcast. His question is, what do you think is the most underrated sport?
Did you catch any of that, Debbie?
No, something about
Andrew,
the most underrated.
You're fuzzing.
Oh, did I go out? Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yeah, now we
I
can hear you.
now.
Okay. Something, I got too many tabs open, I guess. What do you think is his most underrated score? My pick is Catch Me If You Can.
Underrated?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I could answer that. Because I don't think
Maybe if there's a movie that's not watched a lot that has a score of his, so maybe
Maybe.
not a whole lot of people know about it.
I have one. It's one of my favorite movies. I always try to watch it at least once a year. There's a lot of movies I try to watch once
a year.
It's a wonder I have time to do anything. But then again, I'm a hermit. But it's called Always.
Oh, John Goodman. That's a good one.
Yeah, and Richard Dreyfuss, John Goodman, and I forget the girl's name. I love that movie. Great soundtrack. But a lot of I don't think it was a very well-known movie, but
well, and I think too, if you look at like The Patriot, I had no idea until you said it. I was like, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, that makes sense. So, I mean, I could look at a movie to where it's like, where I could look at that movie and say, oh, I didn't even realize he did that one, and I could probably call that one underrated just because I don't watch the movie enough the movie didn't grab me enough to say, oh, this is a John Williams film, or a John Williams soundtrack, so I need to watch the movie over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just like
I'm
it. I just
thinking-
like the movie.
Because this was tough for me. I had to kind of go back and look at some of his scores. The Poseidon Adventure is
Poseidon
one
Adventure.
that I don't hear.
Oh,
I
he
didn't
did
even know
Earthquake and Towering
Yeah.
Inferno too.
I didn't even know he did Poseidon
the
until
old
this.
disaster movies.
Yeah.
Oh, my brothers got in trouble for taking me to Towering Inferno, but it was Steve McQueen. Come on, we all had a crush on Steve McQueen.
Your brothers had a crush on Steve McQueen?
Steve
Now,
McQueen?
I had a crush
Ooh.
on Steve McQueen, but they idolized Steve McQueen. I mean, he was up there with John Wayne.
All right.
So, after the movie Bullet.
Oh, yeah. Everybody liked Bullet.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's an old movie, Andrew. Just
Oh, okay. So,
just not
something
during
your grandparents
yeah.
watch. Okay.
Very early disaster movies.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Was it in color?
A lot of movies in the 70s were
Yes,
disaster
it was in
movies.
color. It was the 70s.
They had a piano playing behind it.
Oh,
When they
yeah.
talked, the words would pop up because they couldn't.
Okay.
They weren't talking.
That was like 90 years ago or something. I don't know.
I'm not that old. Come on.
All right. What's the next question?
Next one comes from Hopped Up Memes. He asks, "How old were you when you learned he wrote the Olympics theme?"
Oh, I knew that from a long time ago. And I'll say that because when you missed the front part of the show, but my father is a very much he's a movie kind of guy. He likes watching movies and stuff, and that was one of the bits of useless knowledge that he imparted to me at a very young age. So
I feel like that was something that I did know, but like I forgot, and then I was reminded watching this. So
that's
I
how
couldn't
you
give
know
an- I
you're
couldn't give
iconic
an exact date.
when you have written the
Yeah.
music for the Olympics. For the
And he was asked.
Olympics.
It's not like
He was
he asked them.
asked. It
They
wasn't
asked
like
him. Yeah, he was asked. Yeah.
it wasn't like we're gonna line up about 5 of you guys and see who writes the best one. And come. I mean, that was like,
Yeah.
wow. You wrote the theme for
I
the
love
Olympics.
making you say that made me think of the guy that did the violin for Schindler's List, and he was talking about his story of John asked him, and he was like, "I'll think about it." And he was talking with
Why
his
are you
wife, and his
thinking
wife
about
was like,
this?
"What's there to think about?"
Yeah, at first I was like, "You're kidding, right? You're kidding."
And what made it even worse was he sat there before all of that and talked about how every time he was always asking John, "Are you going to write something for me? Are you going to write something for me? Are you going to write?" And then John goes, "Well, I've written something for you." And he's like, "I'll think about it." I'm like,
I'll get, yeah,
"Are you
The
insane?"
ultimate prank.
yeah.
I bet John Williams
Would
was like,
John,
he's messing with me. I know he's going to
Yeah.
take this. What am I thinking?
gotta
Are you
talk it over with the
crazy?
wife, you know.
Let me run it by my agent. I got to figure out
Yeah.
maybe
I'm really
not.
busy right now. I just,
I've got
Yeah,
this
if you turn down John Williams, big mistake.
Yeah.
huge.
You just ruined your career.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's you hear all the time about actors that have turned down. I turned down a role, and I wish I had. I'm kicking myself for turning. I think it was John Travolta was approached for something dumb like Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump,
Mhm.
and
I
he
don't
wrote.
see that.
See, I
No, I
don't either.
don't.
But he was like,
Yeah.
that's one of those ones where he's like, I should have done that.
Forrest
Instead,
Gump
I
would
made
not have been
Battlefield
Forrest
Earth.
Gump if it weren't for Tom Hanks. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
now it's like Will Smith turning down Neo in The Matrix. That one's pretty big. That's
No,
the
I
one he's
can't see
talked
it.
about as his.
I don't see
I
that.
can't see it, but that's what he said is like his biggest regret in his career. One of at least.
Wow.
Yeah. Of course, we say that now. They might have been great in the part, but it's just
Yeah.
like
You can't
the
when you
roles are
have a
so
classic like that.
iconic now that
Yeah.
there's just no way you can see anybody else playing
Yeah.
them.
Did he wrote?
It's
Did John Williams write Forrest Gump too, or was that
no, it was
I don't
Alan
think so.
Silvestri, I
Silvestri?
believe. Yeah.
Okay. For some reason that just popped in my head. I'm like, geez, did he write
Mhm.
that one as well?
What the question is, what hasn't he wrote? Is the
Yeah,
like,
that's the better question.
yeah. I'm shocked when I was watching I shouldn't say shocked, but watching this, I was like, I'm surprised he hasn't done a Marvel movie. Like, I don't know if he just hasn't been asked or what, but like an
I'm surprised
Avengers
he hasn't done
movie.
like a Star Trek movie,
Yeah, that's true.
which I watched all 3 of the Kelvin line this past
Ooh,
week.
those are good.
I like them.
That's the Chris Pine ones.
hmm
I
The
haven't
only
seen
Star Trek I've seen.
I haven't seen the third one yet. Beyond Star Trek Beyond, is that the? I haven't seen
Yeah.
that one
Yeah.
yet.
And it's good, but I just have this thing where they
Save
put
it for
modern
Friday.
music in.
Yeah.
Something
It
that's
shouldn't.
not-
There shouldn't be. It's like putting modern music in Star Wars. It just.
Yeah.
Or it's like Willow. I think that was one of the
Oh,
things that killed that
gosh,
stupid
yeah.
Willow movie or TV show. I was like, that.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, seriously.
I mean,
You
they've
have
only
rock and
done
roll
it.
music at the end of this.
They did it twice in that 3-movie Star Trek prequels, I guess you could call them. They did it twice, and both times, man, it just took me right out of it. I'm just like, why? I mean, I guess maybe to bring
Why
in the
you do
younger
this to
generation.
me? Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just now for generations, it worked because of the timeline. or no, not Generations. First Contact.
First Contact. Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked then
Mm-hmm.
because of the timeline. Timeline, excuse me. But yeah, I don't know. It just always throws me off when
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm a stickler
Well,
for that.
I hope so. I don't mind modern music in a Star Wars series, but I wouldn't want it in a movie. Like,
I don't think I could handle it in a
I don't think I
series
could do it in
either.
a series either.
well, but something like Skeleton Crew having a Guardians like soundtrack, I feel like
No,
that
because
would work for it.
that's a long
Not
time
something
ago in a galaxy far, far away. We need long time ago
true.
in a galaxy
But I'm
far,
just
far
saying,
away
if they're
music.
gonna do it because they are, I'd rather it in something like that than a movie. Like
Yeah, that's
if they're
kind
gonna
of
do it, you know.
one thing that worried me about the trailer
Mm-hmm.
because of the song they used in the trailer. I was like, oh no. I mean, I love the song and it fit well
Mm-hmm.
with the trailer, but I was like, does this mean they're going to put it in the movie or in the series? I'm just like, oh no. Unless somebody found like a super old.
How much time do we have? We've got what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks before that one pops?
Yeah, just under a month. Sunday was a month.
December 3rd.
So yeah, so we're
Exciting
we're not
stuff.
far.
Exciting stuff. All right.
But that's it for fan questions. So
Awesome.
we're good.
Shameless plugs. What do we got tonight, Debbie?
I don't know.
What?
Saturday. Oh, wait. Yeah, this is
Friday.
Thursday.
Do you have a
Friday.
Federation Fridays coming up?
Oh, yeah, I do. Federation Friday.
Talking
I
about
know what I'm
Star
doing.
Trek. How are you going to forget that?
I said save it for Friday when you brought it up, and you just
Federation Friday over on the Geek and I podcast YouTube channel. We are talking the original series. We are on episode, I don't know the episode number, but it's called
15.
Shore Leave. Shore Leave is what we're watching. Saturday is Geek Gauntlet. We talk about everything. Monday, we will not be here because somebody's dinner is more important than doing a show.
Who's got 2 thumbs and getting a free dinner on Monday night? This guy.
Hey, who spent time serving in the country? David
This
did.
guy.
Tuesday, I'm not sure if there's a Sith Dominion or not because I know Dr. Dana will be out of the country.
He said no. He said if you were going to, it would be like you and Zane and Cam hosting.
Yeah,
But
he brought
won't
it
be
up
on
in the
it,
chat,
yeah.
but I don't know what was decided. So who knows? There may be not. Who knows? Wednesday is usually a episode of War of the Stars that drops. Thursday, I don't know what we're doing next week. Are we doing anything next week?
Maybe we could start with Rebels again. I don't know.
I'm sure we'll think of something.
Yeah.
We'll think about it over the weekend. We'll let you know. We're
And
excited.
that's all I got.
We'll go through the droid series from the 80s. How about that? Resistance. I'm just throwing ideas out there.
No.
Actually, I'm gonna get fired. I need to stop. So
I mean, if you want to do the Resistance by yourself, that's fine. I will not be
they
participating.
will be.
I have tried to watch it
episodes.
and
How
tried
about
to watch it and tried to watch. I cannot watch it. So
I did watch it. I watched both seasons. I forced myself to because I kind of figured, with new series, it usually takes a season or two to kind of get its groove. I mean, but there was only 2 seasons, and yeah, it just never, at least not for me.
thank you for that. There is a Spaceballs convention this weekend in San Antonio.
What?
So if you are in the San Antonio area and you want to go to Spaceballs, the convention,
I could drive a couple hours.
Did you know they're doing a reboot?
A sequel. It's like a legacy sequel.
Yeah. And I think
Josh Gad and Mel
Josh
Brooks.
Gad's taking over John Candy's role, which is
I just don't know how I feel about that.
I think it could work, but you can't replace John Candy.
Really?
You don't want to try to replace him.
Michael, wow.
Who's that?
He was in, so he's in Spaceballs, but he was in
Yeah.
Michael Winslow, not Wilson, Winslow.
Oh, that okay. I
It was
know
like,
who that
yeah.
is.
I'm pretty sure that's who you're talking about. You're talking about the Police Academy guy. I think it's Winslow is what you're thinking of.
That guy I know. I was thrown off. Oh, autocorrect.
There you go. See, that'd be a lot of fun, especially if he did a panel. Oh,
You could walk up to him and go,
well, it's the beeps, the bleeps, and the creeps.
when is then? Now. Soon.
I need to go watch that one.
Yeah,
That one's
it's
on
great.
my. That's on my. I need to watch it this year list. I think I have watched it this year. I need to watch it again this year.
Well, out of my 370 movies behind me, it is on that shelf.
Okay. Wow. See,
David's gonna go to his wife and say, "Can you give me an early Christmas gift? We'll drive
No.
down to San Antonio."
no. I'm not gonna go that far. That's San
That is
Antonio.
pretty far.
San Antonio is cool, but that's like a 4-hour.
That's got to be what?
4 or 5 hour
Yeah.
drive, and then
Yeah,
gotta stay in a hotel and pay for a convention, and
that's true. Yeah,
Andrew, do you have
it's not. I
anything?
bet it's not $500 to get his picture though.
Might not be. Andrew, do you have anything shameless plug wise?
Not at the moment. No.
Cool. I got nothing. So that's gonna do it for us. Y'all all have a great week. We will let you know if we are going to be back next week. So go hit the like and subscribe button so you know when we do go live. Don't forget to like us on all the social medias. We will see all of you next week here on the Cantina Happy Hour. Y'all have a great rest of your week and an awesome weekend, and may the force be with you all.
She's never seen Star Wars? Ted, the only people in the universe who haven't seen Star Wars are the characters in Star Wars, and that's because they lived them, Ted. That's because they lived